Andrea Tessmann.
Yes, Kirk Buchner.
Whenever you worry, what is the advice you give yourself?
Don't worry, be happy. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Almost as good as Bobby? No. Bobby McFerrin, in one of the more unlikely number ones of all time. And this is an interesting one. When you proposed it last week, I was intrigued. And then I forgot something.
You hate it?
I hate a cappella in general. I hate all of it. I hate Glee. I hate just these uppity white kids up there and just singing shitty songs. Now, granted, Bobby is not an uppity white kid.
No.
But I blame him for all of this. So it's his fault. It's really not his fault. But there is a lot to dissect on this. A lot of good, a little bit of bad. And yeah, this was somebody I didn't know that much about, other than he was somebody who was already successful before this in his own genre. And is successful afterwards. I actually saw a news thing on him in '94, which coincided with the time he became a conductor in San Francisco. So, which sort of like caught up to where he was, and it was only 6 years removed. So it's like, think he's a one-hit wonder? Think again, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but Bobby McFerrin comes from his musical talent so naturally, doesn't it? I didn't know this.
Yeah, his dad was the first Black person to ever grace the stage of the Met.
Mm-hmm. As an opera singer, I believe.
As an opera singer, yeah. He won some contest and won a contract and figured that he'd never actually be on stage because he's Black. But yeah, he was a very successful opera singer. He also voiced in Porgy and Bess, Sidney Poitier's When He's Singing. Mm-hmm. It's not Sidney Poitier, it's Robert McFerrin.
Don't tell Oprah.
So yeah, so his father, renowned opera singer, his mother taught music, I believe, and also was the soloist, I think, with their church choir or something like that. So also accomplished musician.
I mean, what better student can you have in your own son? And it looks like he just took to it naturally, but you would never know it from this song in many ways.
No, so he started out with piano, and he quit school to go become a musician. And then he started with the a cappella thing and perfecting these really interesting vocal techniques where he will sing all over the map and sometimes without even overdubbing, jumping from bass line to soprano lines and like just in back and forth, and really, really technical and difficult vocal skills. So that's really interesting. And he spent a lot of years kind of working on his vocal techniques. And then he scored a record deal when he was 32 or something. Like, he was already getting old.
It took a while for him to really sort of make it big, but once he did, he's like one of those guys who was probably going to all those parties, and then you wonder, like, well, I wonder who this guy is, because he certainly had a whole lot of A-list friends before anybody knew who Bobby McFerrin was.
He was performing with the Marcellus Brothers, like a whole ton of well-known jazz musicians. He got, I know it's taboo to say the name, but Bill Cosby got him into a very renowned jazz festival, which is kind of where he got his start. Cosby also got him to do the season 4. Yeah, so the theme in season 4. And he was chumming with and performing with a ton of well-known, mostly jazz musicians, because that was kind of his his style. And then he put this out.
Well, the thing is also too, like before that, did you see that he's already won five Grammys
Yep.
for this point? One of them, did you see who with?
No.
All right, let me bring that up because it's so fascinating. It's with Jack Nicholson.
What?
Yes. So
I missed that.
Yeah. So by this point, he already won Best Jazz Vocal Performance, Best Vocal Arrangement for two or more voices in 1985, Best Jazz Vocal Performance on a soundtrack around midnight. I don't remember that movie. 1987, Best Jazz Vocal Performance Male from an album that he did with Herbie Hancock, and Best Recording for Children, The Elephant's Child with Jack Nicholson.
I totally did not pick that up.
I was trying to think if I could do a Jack impression. And here's the elephant's child. Yeah, that's really bad, I know. But you didn't come here for my impressions. Don't ever do that again.
Please don't.
Actually, my Jack Nicholson's a lot like my Clint Eastwood and my Lee Van Cleef and my Chuck Norris.
Fair.
Yeah.
So he's won 5 Grammys, mostly in jazz.
4 out of 5.
Then they put out an album that was going to be almost entirely covers. And it was sort of a like, let's try for something a bit more mainstream. It ended up being about half covers and half original. And that's where they put this flaming paper bag of dog turd. So this song, on the one hand, you know what? It's campy and I kind of like it. It's a technically very difficult song that sounds very simple because it's all a cappella.
All of it. I mean, it's all him. I looked at not the liner notes, but just on the Wikipedia, the people who performed on it. It's just him. Just him. Yeah. That's insane. I mean, like we talked about the Wrecking Crew a couple months ago. Yeah. And now we go from that to somebody, he did everything. His background voices, so much so, it's so lush as what he does accomplish here. You don't even notice that there's no instruments. Nope. No, I never actually even clued into it until I was looking into this. Yeah. So it's a novelty song through and through. It's a novelty song. One of the things that is terrible about it, but also makes it memorable, is his horrible fake accent. Well, that's what I can't figure out. There's a couple things I couldn't figure out, and I was wondering if you could. You probably read like I did. He was going for something Spanish. And I think he's trying for like a Mexican sort of thing, but he got more of a Jamaican Caribbean sort of, but also that is really bad. So I was 16 when this came out, or was going to be 16. I must have saw him in interviews because I don't ever remember thinking that this guy must have been from the Caribbean. So I must have heard him talk. So for those listening, he's from Manhattan. So he is definitely not. And if you hear him talk, he very much sounds like he's from New York. Not like a New York, but like a sounds like a New York professor. Yeah. Like a New York intellectual, which he kind of is. He really is. So yeah, he sounds like he's from the Eastern States, well-educated American person. So the song does not sound Caribbean. No, not at all. Also, too, when you hear that, and if that's your only thing of Bobby McFerrin that you know, you don't realize what an incredible vocalist he is, because he actually made him. I mean, it worked for the song. I don't know if he just sang it regularly that it would have. I can't hear it without hearing that terrible accent. No, but it does enunciate and you might want to learn it note from note, but you do remember it note from note, note for note. It's, and I think that's where the problem sort of begins. I mean, the message itself, don't worry, be happy. Did you read where this might have come from?
Yeah, from that guru.
Some Indian guru, which may or may not be true.
It seems like it probably is true, because apparently there was a lot of that message going around at the time. Where he actually saw it may or may not be someone or someone else's apartment on a poster, or it could even be a bumper sticker. Like, apparently it was a pretty common message that was out there.
It certainly.
I'm thinking it's the Live, Laugh, Love of the early 1980s.
Yeah, the only difference is I don't know that "Don't Worry, Be Happy" got appropriated by white married women who are all sort of Karenish.
Yeah, that is the Karen theme for sure.
Yeah, I wonder how that's. It's so weird because it doesn't even go together, but that's, I guess, what Karens are. We live, laugh, love, as long as you're not infringing on me.
So yeah, so he's got a really odd accent. He has the message, so don't worry, be happy. Sure, okay,
good message depending on what you're worrying about.
It is, but it really falls into this toxic positivity thing that comes out a lot.
Interesting.
I found that there's a lot of that, and it's the world of Instagram and social media, where we put out all the best things and we ignore all of the shit show that's going on. And there's these just insidious messages of like, only accept happy. Just if you're put happiness out into the universe, it will come back to you, and only be light and love. And it really is damaging to people who legitimately have problems in their life. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be depressed. You're allowed to want to scream into the void sometimes. So a message like, oh, don't worry, be happy. Oh, you're losing your house. You lost your job. Don't worry, be happy.
Now, that's a real good time when you need to worry and come up with a plan. And I'm trying to separate like everything. Like, I do believe that the most important currency in life is not money, it's happiness. I truly believe that. Yeah. Saying that, just something this hollow with zero context. Landlord says your rent is late. We might have to litigate. Yeah, that's a pretty good time to worry. You're going to be out in the streets. You're going to be kicked out. And I thought back to, again, the time of this song, because we talked last week about with Wham, which was 4 years earlier, but we're still now at the tail end of the Reagan era. Interestingly enough, Bush Senior, I read Bush Senior used this for his campaign.
He did, and then he changed it pretty quickly when Bobby McFerrin came out as supporting. Well, said no, I didn't give you permission to use my song, and then also came out publicly supporting the Liberal candidate.
Which, big shock, a celebrity does that. That's not typical.
Or, sorry, Democratic candidate. I forget that I'm Canadian and I use different terminology.
Well, still a more liberal candidate.
Yep. So yeah, so that was interesting.
Well, then the video itself, I think, was also what propels this to number one. You've got Bobby McFerrin, who nobody knows for the most part. Another guy named Bill Irwin, who I didn't know who the hell he was, except I did see him on a Cosby Show episode where he pretty much did the same shtick. So you've got this comedic pratfaller who can just think on his feet, this beatboxer, not really a beatboxer, but this vocal genius who can come up with anything almost on the top of his head, and one of the greatest improv comedians of all time. and that's with the big star of Robin Williams. And Robin, I think a lot of people remember the end of the last few years where he wasn't super successful. Everything he touched turned to shit. We don't want to remember that, but it was kind of true.
This music video was on the heels of Good Morning Vietnam. Like, this was his prime, really. Although you could say Mrs. Doubtfire, but I mean, he's dressed in drag in this movie too, or in this video.
But was he? I mean, what the hell was he wearing in that first thing? It looked like something from an African
comes back in it later
army.
too.
I didn't know what the hell that was.
So this entire video, they're kind of acting out the song in different ways, and they're just hamming it up. Like, it's three guys goofing off in front of the camera. I wouldn't put it past my 10-year-old nephew to put out something like that.
I wonder how many takes they took. I was trying to find it and I couldn't. I was trying to find where they even met Robin. I found where Robin apparently met Bill in Malta. So I guess, celebrities sort of like just meet each other. Or, well, I guess Bill, from what I can see, like he's a celebrity in his own, like he's an icon in his own genre. And I'm still not even sure what genre that is, to be blunt.
Yeah, so they just make this super corny. So Bobby McFerrin sitting in a chair in a white tuxedo, barefoot,
socks, because
and singing, and then between the three of them, they kind of act out in like the different scenes, the different verses of the song, and in between, they're just goofing off.
That's it. That's all they're doing.
That's it. Yeah.
Life's not bad. Of course, it's not bad for you three. But
which is kind of ironic considering Robin Williams committed suicide. But
well, it really is. I never even thought about that until now. That he was in, like, because he's been dead. God, when did he die? 6 years ago?
Something like that, maybe a bit more even.
I'm trying to remember, because I remember my coworker was saying, like, they wondered if the guys from if the writers from Family Guy felt bad, because on that one episode where they just ripped the shit out of Robin Williams.
Oh, I don't know that I saw that one.
Okay. Yeah,
but
everything Peter touched turned into Robin Williams, and then Peter essentially had to kill. He couldn't stand it anymore. Because these are really three guys who'd be the most fun at a party until, okay, the party's over, go home. Especially when Robin was in his coke days.
Which, looking at this video, looks like that might be the case, but
could have been. I mean, I certainly know my Robin movies from the 80s. He had that thick mustache on, and that's what he wore in Cadillac Man. So that's also like when he was in that rare air. If he was in the movie, people were going to give it a shot. Until was it Toys? I think that sort of ended that, or was it Hook?
I'm not sure, but
yeah,
there was some crap. But so
I got a question for you though, since we always sort of like go through things here. So I think we can both agree that Robin being in the video helped propel this to get eyeballs on it. Does the fact that this is not a black hip hop guy, this is a clean cut black man in his late 30s who doesn't look harmless. So let's go back to, who looks harmless. Because we wind up talking about race on the show, so we might as well do that here. This is right around when Public Enemy first came out, just a lot of hardcore hip hop. Well, here's the safe black man with his white friends. Because this is not a song that I imagine, I didn't check on this, but I can't imagine this doing well in the R&B, getting R&B play.
I don't think it did. I don't know, but I don't think it did that well.
And I'm not implying that Bobby said, I'm going to make an album for a white audience. I think Bobby does whatever Bobby wants to do.
Mm-hmm. I think this album, all of it, was meant to be commercially successful. I think it was kind of a push by the record company to get something that's going to sell. And I mean, after the success of this song, he could do whatever the fuck he wanted for the rest of his life.
And he did.
Which he did. And he was
still
quite
does.
successful with it, continued to be success, still is. And he moved on to becoming a guest conductor, basically. Did you watch any of the stuff that he's been doing lately with the improv and things like that?
I did, but I mean, like then it's just like, oh God. I mean, I don't find it entertaining. It's like I know it's massively skilled, but so is someone who can belch really good.
A little bit different, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's not your thing.
No, it's not my thing. I respect the hell out of this guy. I think he'd be really entertaining. Do I really want to sit through 2 hours of this? Oh God, no. No.
So if we go back to how the hell it got to number one, he booted, wasn't it Aerosmith? Wasn't it?
Oh, GNR.
Guns N' Roses, yeah, out of the top spot. So you go from Sweet Child of Mine.
Okay, can I do my Axel?
Yeah.
Okay. She's got great instrument, remind me of for those just listening, I'm doing a great thing on the YouTube thing. It's just I nailed it. Did I nail it, Andrea? Or did I just sound like I nailed a cat?
Cat.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, I have fun. On
That's the important thing. It's all about amusing ourselves. That's why we're here, right?
For sure. Oh, wait till you see what I got next week. But anyway.
So yeah, I mean, you couldn't go more polar opposite. Like, but it's a novelty song.
Right decade.
It's the right decade. It's got a happy message. I honestly don't know how serious he is. I think it's just a campy, silly. He's making up a funny accent. The video is complete goofing off. And like, I don't know. I think maybe he's making fun of, maybe it's tongue in cheek. Could be tongue in cheek.
I don't know. I mean, he doesn't seem to have any inner. I mean, I've watched quite a few interviews with him, in prep for this. And if there's any inner demon like Robin had, I don't see it.
I don't either.
So, I mean, it could be one of those things where, okay, well, you want something cheesy, the record company. You want something that's good, that maybe it's going to sell. Okay, let's try something. And this isn't a bad message. I mean, maybe we're not meant to take it literal. I did see that this is a song on a lot of worst of lists, and it really shouldn't be. I mean, as much as I don't like it, I know you don't like it, and a lot of people don't. I can't rate it as one of the worst because of its technical brilliance of this man. I can't.
I agree. And I don't actually hate it, as long as I don't have to listen to it very often.
I tried to listen to I listened to that whole album, except for the first song, because I remembered it note for note. So the last track on that was pretty interesting. Sunshine of Your Love. I didn't think like this is not going to work. It worked. There was also an interesting duet. I don't know when it was done. Him and Robin Williams doing which Beatles song was it? Come Together.
He also did a pretty good job of Baby You Can Drive My Car.
Yeah, I wasn't feeling that one. But it was anyways. Still, yeah. No, I mean, I will say for this, for those who dislike it, who dislike that song, like I think Andrea and I do, listen to a few of the other songs on the album. It really shows what this man can do. This song does show what he can do, but it's such a limited thing of what he's capable of. If you want to give that a shot, and if you don't, hey, I get it. Because I said I couldn't listen. I would not go to a concert of this guy. I couldn't do it.
I was really enjoying a lot of his other stuff. I found some of the what he's doing with improvisations and with like massive choir improvisations to be very interesting. But I don't know about actually sitting through 2 hours of it. But I
Yeah.
did. I think he's exceptionally talented and has a unique style. I also think part of the reason I hate the song is because of Big Mouth Billy Bass.
Yeah, don't they do that? Isn't that one of the ones they use for that? Yeah. Which is
Yes.
another one that makes no sense. I mean, you're a fish on the wall. You're dead.
So I did a bit of research into the Big Mouth Billy Bass, and it made like $100 million.
Oh, and he wrote that song, so he must have lined
Well,
his
so there's Al Green's "Take Me to the River" as like the other song, the more
Al
common
Green.
song. That's
I
Isn't
thought
it
it
Al
was
Green?
Talking Heads.
No, I'm pretty sure it's Al Green.
Maybe Talking Heads covered that, and I'm mistaken all the
Could
time.
be. But I gotta look this up.
Yeah.
Because
While you're doing that,
yeah,
I'm gonna.
original is Al Green.
Huh.
So apparently,
I was gonna do the David Byrne. Can I do that really quick?
Sure.
And you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Done by Tony Basil. Choreographed. Throwback. That's a callback to a previous episode.
Yep. So so apparently the "Take Me to the River," Al Green got more royalties for the Big Mouth Billy Bass version than he got for any other song.
Awesome.
So I would assume that that Bobby McFerrin also did very well off of this stupid novelty gift.
Yeah, so that if you watch an old Simpsons episode where it's just they're making fun of Bobby and his new song, "I'm Worried Need Money," isn't the case. Bobby's not worried about nothing. Bobby McFerrin has an awesome life, does what he wants. Probably, I don't know how much different his life would have been if this didn't become a monster hit, because he was doing what he wanted anyway.
He's not extravagant. I think he does all right. Still does all right. He's 77, I think now, and
yeah, but I think his career path would have been almost the same. Just it wouldn't have had that.
Yeah, he didn't try to do the follow up to the One Hit Wonder.
No.
He didn't try to do anything to like change his life after this song. It was just a one off, and he moved on with.
Can you imagine the pressure he must have got from the record companies?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But no, I mean, like, what do you accomplish even before that? Even if he didn't even have that, just to be on stage and work with Herbie Hancock, well, a pre-scandal Cosby. I mean, we can never forget how big that man was in the 80s and how many doors he opened.
Yeah.
Or could close.
Unfortunately, the doors should have stayed closed on him lately, but that's a different subject.
Well, yes, that is.
But yes, he would have been a massive force in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that kind of puts an end to this. Do you want to know what we got next?
I do.
Okay.
What piece of shit are you serving up next week?
Oh, this is bad. It's going to inspire you to get. You should find one of those bowl cut wigs. And I'm going to get a captain's hat. Captain and Tennille. Love will keep us together.
Love will keep us together.
And I can do my impression of the captain. I'm just.
That's your best impression of the day.
Yeah, for those listening, I'm just staring off into space. That's all I'm doing. Because the captain's a dork. I always thought he was a dork.
Oh man, Captain and Tennille.
Captain and Tennille. Oh yes. I figured we had to get out of the 80s.
We did, yeah.
Yeah. And it's sort of a nice little parallel. I've been watching another YouTube channel just all about British influential music of the 70s and early 80s. And what was going on in the United States? Captain and Tennille. All right, with that, everyone stay safe. If you haven't checked out some of the other shows I've got, we just recorded the classic sports review. It's when the Toronto Blue Jays won the World Series. I won't tell you how it ends, Andrea. So actually, I did say that they won the World Series. Never mind.
You did.
I did.
Yep.
Also, it's just already up on the YouTube channel. We looked at Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park on This Crap was on national television. Evan and I, we have our weekly show that keeps going. And Andrea is always here. She keeps coming back no matter what dish of hot diarrhea I serve to her.
Hey, you know what? I get equal opportunity to serve.
This is true. Usually you take a higher road than I do.
I thought I was taking the low road this week, so
I can shit on the song. I can't shit on the guy.
Yeah.
Next week we can shit on all of it.
All right. I look forward to seagulling with you next week, all
right.
over the Captain and Tennille.
Nice. Stay safe, everybody.
Bye.